this story just made my blood boil. I'm gonna be honest with you because it's so crazy. When you talk about New York is a Democratic stronghold for one. So if we want to talk about party and ideology, New York is a blue state, right? And in Brooklyn, where Hakeem Jefferies is from, this is a story about a Brooklyn man who lost his home over a $5,000 water bill.
It's rough. It's tough. I cannot eat. I cannot drink. I cannot sleep.
A homeowner spends decades paying off his mortgage only to suddenly find out his home has been sold in an auction without his knowledge. So how could this happen? It's a 7 on Your Side investigation. And good evening to you. At 6 o'clock, I'm Liz Cho. Bill is off tonight. We are going to begin with that stunning story of a man fighting to keep his home. He worked for 22 years to pay off the mortgage on his home in Brooklyn, only to find out that it was auctioned off. He had been paying his water bill, but it turns out there was an old bill he never knew about. But the city sold the debt to a private investor who then sold his $800,000 home at an auction. And thousands of New Yorkers could be at risk of the very same thing.
Soak in what I just played. And keep in mind, he owed a $5,000 water bill. And I'm going to let the story keep playing, but he had a $5,000 water bill. An $800,000 house was auctioned. A home that he paid off over 22 years. $800,000 house. It's probably a multifamily in Brooklyn. And it was auctioned off over $5,000.
Liz, the city takes action against people who don't pay their property taxes or water bills. It is leading to people losing their homes. In this case, it's for a bill that was worth less than 1% of the value of his home. In the middle of the night, this is what the Brown family in Brooklyn woke up to. Strangers using power tools to try to get into their home, only to find later those strangers had a legal right to be there.
I don't want anybody to go through what I'm going through. It's more than I can bear.
Fillmore Brown bought his home back in 1996, worked 7 days a week for more than 2 decades to pay it off, only to learn it was sold out from under him.
It's rough. It's tough. I cannot eat. I cannot drink. I cannot sleep. I cannot stay at the house.
That was your American dream.
That was my dream, only dream.
Back in 2019, Brown had just finished paying off the mortgage, but says he didn't know he had an unpaid water bill for $5,000. Did you know that you had an outstanding water bill?
No. If I did know, I would pay just as I paid the balance.
Here's what happens in New York City with larger unpaid water and tax bills. The city sells the unpaid bills to what's called a trust, which is a group of investors. It's then up to those investors to collect the money with interest. If the balance isn't paid, the home can go into foreclosure and be bought at auction. That's what happened to Mr. Brown.
It's stolen from me, and I need it back.
The city says they sent numerous notices warning him of a pending lien, notices Mr. Brown says he did not receive. Court documents then show the investors served someone at his home with papers in November of 2020 during the height of the pandemic that they were foreclosing. Mr. Brown claims he didn't get it.
I would pay it with no problem.
He lives on the top floor of his home and rents out the lower 2 units to other families.
He said he didn't know anything about this, and I believe him.
The attorneys working on his case say he has paid thousands of dollars in taxes and water bills since then.
He just paid a water bill this year. In the thousands.
Obviously, he would have paid that stupid ass $5,000 water bill. This is just crazy. And my thing is that, for politicians, particularly in New York, and like I said, I just got off this video with Hakeem Jefferies. I'm like, yo, you're in New York. Politicians should be on this, because if you look at a lot of these situations, in last episode I talked about this, a lot of these situations where the city is basically stealing your home are happening to black people, minority, working class, lower income people. All the stuff that all the Democrats claim they're about are happening to people in this situation. And obviously this guy has paid bills since then. Now keep in mind, the city sent they sent notices, but who knows where they sent it, right? But why would this guy not pay $5,000 when his home is worth $800,000? Now he lives on the top floor, he's renting out the other 2, and this is in Brownsville, I believe they said, in Brooklyn. So the house is worth a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Any house in New York greater area is going to be worth a lot of money. And I think, honestly, to be honest with you, I think that they target people who've paid their mortgage off too. Because keep in mind, the reason I say that is that this $5,000 water bill, even if they had put a lien on his home and he owed money, if he still owed mortgage on it, the first position lien holder is always going to be the bank, right? So you couldn't really foreclose on the property. You could put a lien on the property if you wanted to, if someone owes money on their house, but you couldn't foreclose and take the property because the first position debt holder is going to be the bank. They're going to be the first position who's going to be able to do that. So you wouldn't be able to take the property. But if the person paid the property off and you're the water company, or obviously the tax office, they can foreclose and take the property essentially. And this story makes my blood boil because these are the kind of things that contribute to the stupidness of the cost of living, the problem with housing, because people are getting. I played this last episode. I played a story in numerous stories in Chicago, numerous stories in New York where this stuff is happening with taxes and water. And what people have to understand, we got to really, and again, I'm going to hammer this point home, we got to really start getting to the local politics. This garbage about Medicare and Social Security, you ain't got to worry about all that stuff if your house is getting taken by your city. You ain't got to worry about that if property taxes keep going through the roof in places that we live in. You ain't got to worry about all that stuff ain't gonna matter because Social Security won't cover the cost of living. So